Okay, I will call to order this regular meeting of the Reading Board of Education. It is March 5th, 2024 at 7:02 p.m. Present, we have myself, Laura Warros, Amanda Guarnier, Celeste Fine, Bria Pepe, Chirag Sadana, and Megan Bendish over Zoom. Okay, first item on the agenda is the consent agenda. This is the approval of minutes from the February 6th regular meeting and the February 14th special meeting. Does anyone have comments or corrections to make? Okay, absent objection, I will deem the minutes approved for both meetings. Item 3 on the agenda is public comment. Do we have any public comment tonight? Nope. Okay, moving along, board member comment. Do we have any board member comment? Okay, and item 5 is administrative reports. Dr. McKinnon.
Good evening, everyone. It's nice to see you all. We have some administrative updates this evening, and we are going to start with Melissa Labrosciano, principal over at RES. Hello, Melissa. How are you?
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Yep.
All right, awesome. Thank you. So I have some really fun highlights over the last month. One starting with our winter concert of our 3rd and 4th grade chorus members that was held on February 15th. And then just last week, we had our 4th grade band and orchestra concert. Both were a huge success. In our preschool news, preschool classes are wrapping up their winter unit, and students have been learning all about the signs of winter, animals of winter, winter clothing, and the temperature. We are super, super excited. The Friday before February break, our 2nd graders engaged in the Ancient Greek Civilization and Greek Myths Olympics. I know that we have some 2nd grade parents that are board members, but it was truly a special day. Students were engaged in all kinds of activities, and it was a culmination of all that they learned through their Great Greek Mythology CKLA unit of study. And then another thing that I really am proud of and I want to showcase too, we're doing a lot of great work around problem solving at RES. So I know that you have all the documents in front of you that you can have access to and some really great links. But we have been engaged in through exemplars, problem solving tasks, grades K through 4. Students are having so much success and it's really great to see. Any questions?
Thank you, Melissa.
Sure.
Okay, thank you, Melissa. Ms. Damaris, do we have an update from John Reed Middle School?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Not in the report, but something that was great for students last week is that 8th grade members of our musical groups went to see Annie at the Schubert Theater on, I think it was Thursday evening, and they had a great time. Went to dinner and a show, and with some parent volunteers and Mr. Duffy and Mr. Ebert. Today was the first day of auditions for our spring musical, which is The Addams Family. And the performance dates are May 2nd, May 3rd, and May 4th, matinee. We have St. Baldrick's, our outreach club, each year holds this event in conjunction with the other schools in the district. And our center this year is going to be at Barlow. This is the 16th time we've done it. It's going to be on March 18th. And students volunteer to get their heads shaved in an effort to raise money to combat childhood cancers. So their goal this year is to raise $6,000. So we're on our way. We have 26 student volunteers at this point in time. And I'm sure a couple faculty members will join in as well. And I'd like to recognize the 2 students moving forward in the PTA Reflections Contest. Sophia L. Baker, in our 7th grader in literature, and Sarah Stoltz, a fifth grader in the visual arts category. That's it.
Thank you, Jen. Any questions?
Thank you, Jen. One thing I wanted to mention to Melissa is the board was extended an invite to the upcoming Little Mermaid play, and I just wanted to say thank you. I'm so bummed I'm going to be out of town that weekend and I can't go, but thank you for the invite.
I
Yes,
got my tickets today.
you better get them quick. We're almost sold
Selling.
out. It's crazy. We sold like 750 tickets within the first 2 days of the pre-sale. It was nuts, but we're super excited.
That's great. And I'm looking forward to the middle school one coming up.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, so I think for administrative reports, we have Miss Matz, our Director of Special Education, and I know Catherine has an update on a few items.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. I wanted to really update you tonight on the ARPA grant that I know has been outstanding for several years now. So this year we've really put a lot of time and had a lot of meetings between Dr. McKinnon, Sarah Scrofani, Mike D'Agostino, Melissa Labrociano, even some community members to help us take that $80,000 grant that was originally written a few years ago and make sure that we're following through on all of the things that were designed to the extent that are still appropriate now. So we are prioritizing a sensory space for students. It's available for all students, not just special education students. And then we're following through on those curriculum materials, some professional learning for staff, and some teacher resources in support of the goals of that grant. And of course, when we finish the project, we're very much looking forward to coming back to you with an update. Does anyone have any questions? Hey.
Okay. Ms. Scrofani, do you have an update on our finances? I know you don't have the February health report yet.
I don't have the February health report yet, but you do have the March budget object summary. And as we enter this month, our expenditures are on track, and what you see in our report is very typical. I will provide updated health information for February next month. And if you have any questions, let me know. But we are on track for the end of the year.
Okay. Are there any questions for Ms. Scrofani concerning our finances?
Thank you, Sarah.
Okay, great. That's all we have, Laura.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate all the updates, and we love hearing about all the exciting things happening. Okay, so next on the agenda is board committee reports. The joint operating committee met, but we can go ahead and skip that report for now. We'll cover that later in the agenda. Are there any other board committees that have met in the last month? No? Okay. All right, so that brings us to discussion and possible action. Before we get started with item A, I'd like to make an agenda change and add an item. So I'll look for a motion to add an agenda item 7B, extension of the first student contract. Can I have a motion for that?
I'll give the motion.
John, do I have a second? Amanda? Okay, great. All in favor? So you can raise your hand, or Shrug, can you just put up a little hand sign? Okay, great. Thank you. That passes 7-0. So let's move on to item 7A, consideration of final progress payment for the JRMS alarm panel. Is that Sarah or Mike?
That is Mr. D'Agostino, and
D'Agostino.
Mike, you can share your screen. And I think you're muted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, so this is the John Reed fire alarm panel before and after. I think everyone those new to the board may not be aware of it, but this is what it looked like on the left beforehand with multiple
Mike, you're not
panels.
sharing anymore.
Mike, we
Are
can
you
hear
kidding
you, but
Are you kidding me? Okay, hang on. What is going on here?
There we go.
Great, we can see it and hear you.
Okay, we're good now?
Yeah.
Jeez. All right, sorry. Okay, so this is the John Reed panel on the left. Beforehand, we had 3 different panels, 2 main ones. They did not talk to each other, and so one was addressable, one wasn't. What we did was we put in a new unified panel. It's an addressable panel that you see on the right-hand side. And so that work started during the summer. That project was funded by the town of Reading. And we, as the Board of Ed, supervised and managed that project. And now it is complete. And so what we have done historically is we approve the invoice and accept that the job is complete, and then we pass the invoice on to the town of Reading for payment. So there's a motion up, as you can see, for consideration. Again, stating the cost, the invoice number, and where the project will be funded from.
What was the approved amount for the project?
So the town approved 65, not to exceed $65,000.
Okay,
So we brought it in under a little bit.
great.
On time and under budget.
That's right.
Sounds like a Mike D'Agostino project.
Thankfully, so.
Great. Does anyone have any
I'll
questions?
make, oh, I was gonna make the motion.
Great, go for
Go
it.
ahead, Bria.
Unless anyone has any questions, I don't want to interrupt. No? Okay. I make a motion to move that the Reading Board of Education approve invoice number 492304 from United Alarm Services in the amount of $62,636.89 for the installation of the new addressable fire alarm panel at John Reed Middle School. The invoice to be funded by the town of Reading, utilizing funds from the Town Capital Projects Fund.
I second the motion.
John, any additional discussion? Okay, great. All in favor? Bear with me a second. I have to kind of scroll through here and just double check everyone. Okay, great. Motion passes unanimously 7-0. Thank you, everyone. And can we, oh, we're just gonna keep sharing 1 second. Okay, so moving on, item 7B, extension of the first student contract. And that's also Mike.
Guess I'm the headliner tonight.
Yeah.
So again, we discussed this back in October, where the board directed that the administration begin discussions with First Student, who is our current transportation provider, on a contract extension. We for new members of the board, we've been very happy with First Student. We did at one point have a different transportation vendor back 7, 8 years ago, I guess. And we went out to bid, and First Student was the winning bidder. We've been very happy with their services. Our current fleet has about between 65 and 68,000 miles on it, which is relatively midlife for school buses. So we feel like the fleet has, you know, a lot of service left into it. We did seek and see what area districts were receiving for bus increase, for year-over-year increases. They were many of them were in the double digits. And we have been very fortunate that we had a 5-year contract that essentially had 2% budget increases each year. So where we are now, again, we have the fleet, we have a really good bus company. We did need to make some adjustments, obviously increasing the cost based upon wage adjustments to keep us competitive within the region. And again, costs of, we have fewer routes, and that affects the profitability for the bus company as well. So, sorry. So this essentially discusses some of the main extension terms. There's going to be a change in that. Currently, we have something called deadhead miles, which basically is the distance that the bus travels to the first stop, and then from the last stop to the back to the bus depot. Right now, we are not paying for those miles, but as part of the extension terms, we would be paying for those miles. And again, that was done to try and keep our year-over-year increases at a minimum. Also, we have to look to increase wages for the bus drivers in order to remain competitive. We did retain the performance bond, which covers us in the incident of a default, which we don't anticipate. And then again, the number of routes that is lower than it has been when we initially negotiated the contract. And those are the year-over-year percent increases, as you can see there. And also in italics, that's the deadhead fuel calculations. So that's roughly what we save each year currently. That would be going towards keeping that increase percent down. I don't know if anyone has any questions on that. Otherwise, we'll move on. This is the letter from the bus company with the stated terms that I just put in a clearer format that you could read previously.
Mike,
Yes,
the 9% that's included in the budget that we approved this year.
Yes,
right?
yes, the 9% was the amount that we put into the current operating budget proposal.
Great.
Mike,
Yes, John.
that 38 to 40,000, is that spread across all 5 years, or that's just the first year?
No, that's each year spread across 3 districts.
Oh,
So that's the overall deadhead fuel costs, again, so that would be split between the 3 districts.
but that'll change every year though, because the percentage goes down.
The fuel is the fuel. The percentage remains the same. That's just the amount, again, that's calculated into the fuel costs.
But a difference from 9% to 6% from year 1 to year 5,
Yes.
that doesn't,
The fuel costs are incremental to the contract increase. So it's a 9% contract increase. And then there's the 40 or so thousand per year in fuel costs on top, divided by 3.
I understand that. But that 38 to 40,000, if that represents 9% in the first year, that should be a lesser number on year 5 at 6%.
No, I'm sorry if my slide was unclear. That's just deadhead fuel calculations, because I told you about deadhead miles. So the deadhead fuel calculations that we would be absorbing into our fuel calculations would be $38,000 to $40,000 per year, just so that there's clarity. The fuel is not built into the bus contract. The fuel is separate.
Okay.
So we pay separately for the fuel. Yes.
I'm sorry. May I ask a question? Correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't even know if this matters, but are our student population supposed to increase over the next 5 years? that something we've talked about? So does that affect this situation? Like, because I notice what it says, the number of routes and vehicles has been reduced since 2018, but aren't we expecting the opposite? So does that?
Yes,
change?
first I will say that our buses are not loaded to capacity currently. So as we do increase in ridership, we do believe that there's room on the buses. Again, if we did experience a huge increase in the number of students and had to add an additional bus, then there would be an additional cost for that, but we do not anticipate that based on the projections. And again, a motion for consideration.
Someone want to make the motion?
I just have one more question. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Mike, have you contacted any other bus companies to weigh the difference, or is that, judging from what you said about what other districts are doing, are you assuming that First Student would still be the best choice?
Yes, we believe they would still be the best choice for us. Ms. Grafani did help by providing comparisons with area districts, and we looked at all of that and the different companies, the different districts in comparisons and what they're paying, and we believe that this is really does represent fair market value and a good service company.
Okay. Thank
I have a motion from someone.
Does everyone understand what the deadhead miles are, by the way? Because I know there's new board members. And so I just wanted to make sure that people knew that that's the, it's the fuel that's used to get to the first stop from the bus depot to the first stop. And then at the end of the day, from the last stop back to the bus depot again. So that cost will be variable based on the fuel based on the fuel contract that we're able to get. So I wasn't sure if everyone was familiar with that particular term that John was referring to when he asked that question. And I know that John knows, but I wasn't sure if everyone else on the call was familiar. I
think Mike covered it.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Thank
I
you.
understand it, but why are we paying it now if we weren't paying it before?
We did that again to try to keep the year-over-year increase down. So again, it was used to prevent, our first year increase from being, 10 or 11%. We incorporated the deadhead miles into so essentially what happened, it was, you calculate and then you we incorporated the deadhead miles rather than keeping them separate.
Was that the cheaper of the two options?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Any other questions? Someone like to make a motion?
All right.
I can make the motion.
Okay, who is that?
I don't know, it was me or John.
Go ahead, Megan.
Go ahead, Megan.
I move that the Reading Board of Education approve the 5-year transportation contract extension from First Student as presented and authorize the board chair to sign subsequent to legal review.
Do I have a second? John, thank you. Any additional questions, discussion points? Okay, all in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Great, thank you, everyone. That passes unanimously, 7-0. Thank you, Mr. D'Agostino.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, that brings us to the end of our agenda. Can I have a motion to adjourn? John, do I have a second? Bria. Okay, great. Thanks, everyone. And we are adjourned at 7:27 PM. Have a good night, everyone.
everyone.
Thank you.
Night.